Should you buy the brand new Moza CRP2 pedals? Well, I've got them, I'm using them, I'm going to let you know especially how it compares against the competition. Now, I've been using similarly priced pedals from Logitech, Fanatec, Thrustmaster, all load cells over the last few years, and the Moza CRP1 pedals. Now, the Moza CRP1s, I really like the build quality as you saw in my review, but I didn't think they were quite up to the performance of the Fanatec V3. So this video is going to be a lot about performance. Is it actually going to make you faster? They're retailing for about $399. So starting here with the comparison against Fanatec V3. So the V3's usually like the king of this budget range. You can see me using them here in iRacing. Got that very distinctive default long pedal plate on the throttle, which we also saw on the Moza CRPs. The CRP2s have moved to the more realistic faceplates. By the way, they were also an option on the Fanatec V3s, and that has quite a big effect on driving, as you're going to see in this video. But here's me on the Fanatec V3s, able to dance on the pedals. This is why I'm really quick in sim racing when I put my mind to it. And you can see they look absolutely great as well. So it's not easy for the CRP2s to win your money over the V3s. So what are the CRP2s like to put on the rig? Well, actually not that difficult. There's a pedal plate that you attach to the rig and then you put the pedals on that. The only tricky thing really was trying to feed through the USB data cables back into the button box, which is actually sort of in the middle of the pedal plate. But in about half an hour, we have the new pedals on and away we go. So this is iRacing, same combination. And the first feeling I had is that these pedals just felt right. And I think a lot of that is due to the faceplates. Now that does come with a compromise or a difficulty for me, which is you can see my feet sort of slipping a little bit on the pedal plates, especially the throttle, and that means that the part of my foot where I'm applying the pressure is moving around on the plate. That's something I've got to sort out with ergonomics, because if you imagine if you had a longer throttle plate in particular, you'd still be able to apply pressure all the way through the pedal travel, if that makes sense. But otherwise, the feeling was much more like a car, and there was quite good resistance from the load cell. We're going to get onto load cell though, because it's a 200 kg load cell, and out of the box, I did have something that I had to tweak with it. So we'll get onto that in a little bit. But just looking at the footage here of me in iRacing, do I have the confidence to sort of go for moves and know that I'm going to have the right brake pressure, ease up, get that rotation? Absolutely yes. You can see here, able to switch to the inside and sort of have a go up the inside and get the rotation. So quite a satisfying feeling on these pedals, more realistic than I say the Fanatec V3s, but the V3s with those pedal plates do allow you to sort of, especially on the throttle, move your sort of foot up and down the pedal, which is interesting. And there is something with the pedal plate I think Moza could actually do to improve this quite quickly. So if you have a look over here on the front of the pedal plate, you can see that there's a gap. It goes down above the Moza Racing logo. I do think if they kept that little lip there, you just have a little bit more for your foot to rest on, especially for the brake. I don't know if I'm overthinking that. You can see there's quite a lot of adjustability on the side of the pedals. I've adjusted the face plates, but those screws you can see here, by loosening those, I'll be able to adjust basically the height of the pedals as well, which might be perfect for me, just bringing them down a little bit. Now I want to go onto the load cell, the brake pedal here, the pièce de résistance probably. It's a 200 kg load cell, which is insane. Bear in mind, these Fanatec V3s here have a 90 kg load cell. And so it's a really interesting point of comparison with the Moza CRP2s, because traditionally we've seen Moza as being quite futuristic, not as realistic. Whereas here we have the Fanatec's with a 90 kg load cell and the futuristic throttle pedal you can see here, and the CRP2s from Moza coming in with a 200 kg and the realistic faceplates. Now I can't hit 200 kg, I'm not a Formula 1 driver, so I max out the load cell earlier in the Moza Pithouse software. Obviously the active pedal they're going to bring to market is going to be even more adjustable when it comes to that, but it's also going to be a much higher price range. Now what about other pedals? The Logitech G Pros I've been using for about 2 years, and they're 100 kg load cell pedals. For me, they're pretty much on par with the Fanatec V3s, but you just look at the build quality here, and they look quite... This is just a clutch I've got here because the other two are actually on my rig. But you see they look quite simple in comparison with the Moza CRP2s. I think Moza have learnt from their mistakes perhaps with the Moza CRPs and tried to address those faults in the CRP2s. Stuff like adjustability looks like it's a lot easier on the CRP2s, and I'm going to be fully testing out on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, by the way, if you want to see more videos with the CRP2s. It does really help me out. And obviously a big thanks to Moza for sending over these review units. Now, I did notice here, you can see that the original Moza CRP plate on the front doesn't have that dip in it. So what I'm probably going to do is try and transfer that across to the CRP2s. And again, there's the comparison in the pedal plates as well. Now here's a little secret for you. Well, I don't know if it's a secret, but a very cool thing. You can run the Moza CRP2s inverted, and that's something that sim racers are often always crying out for. I used to run my Thrustmaster T3PA Pro pedals inverted, so they have a performance kit to run them inverted, maybe another decision to run with those pedal plates. That's going to be very, very, very interesting. That might be super realistic, and again, it looks like a sensible way to try and mount that to the rig. Now, something the Moza CRP2s don't have compared to the V3s is that rumble motor, the vibration motor in the pedals. I really, really like it on the brake in the Fanatec V3s. That's not present in the Mozas. Kind of surprised they've let that one go, because Moza love to add all these sort of things. I'm using the Vision GS steering wheel at the moment that has like the circular screen with the gyro in it. But also worth mentioning that you don't have any rumble in the Moza CRP2s, but they're bringing out the active pedal, which goes way beyond that. So that's how they're trying to deliver those features. So back to the sim now, back in iRacing, and a few more important points I think it's important for you to know. So the CRP1's build quality looked amazing, but I don't think it quite had that real consistency in the load cell brake. You could sort of tell that it was Moza's first time doing a load cell brake, and there's a big chasm in the quality between the entry-level SRPs and the CRPs in my opinion. Now, in the CRP2s, off the bat, I felt a lot more just consistency in the load cell when it came to applying pressure and coming off the pressure. And you can see here with the indicator I put up here in iRacing, that is the readout from the brake pressure. And the most important thing for me in load cell is knowing that I'm able to trail brake very, very, very effectively. So you can see here, coming down into Zuka, I'm going to try and go around the outside of this McLaren here, and to do that I'm going to need to do quite a lot of trail braking. It's something I'm only going to do if I'm confident in the car, and you can see there a little bit of brake and then more brake here, easing off the brake. And it's very important that I have that brake consistency absolutely instinctive to me, so I can use the brake to rotate. If I don't do that, I'm just going to go up the inside in a regular braking move. So the fact I'm able to do that early doors is a good sign. You can see here the ergonomics of the pedals are still not right for me. I need to have the top of the pedal much lower, so I'm going to be using those adjustments and trying to get it in the perfect position. But I've just got a really good feeling about me using these pedals from my initial driving of it in iRacing. So I'm going to keep them on the rig. The Fanatec V3s you can see are now looking at the Moza CRP2s, and I have a free choice of whichever pedals I want to use. I'm not obliged to use either of them. I'm going to end up using the pedals that I feel like have the best performance. So at this stage, my first impressions, the Moza CRP2s look to have taken a lot of lessons from the CRP1s, and in some areas they go way beyond what the competitors are doing in terms of like the pressure on load cell, etc. Time will tell whether I uncover any software issues with them, any peculiar issues. Is the heel plate going to really annoy me? I will let you know on this channel. So let me know any questions you got in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time.